Today, I'm joined by Remy Samson, CEO of Elementiam Materials and Manufacturing Incorporated. Based in Edmonton, Remy blends a global engineering education from France, Mines de Nancy, and the University of Alberta, with hands-on experience in advanced manufacturing, fluid mechanics, and system engineering. From internship in Europe to leading-edge projects in Canada, he is now driving innovations in additive manufacturing and repair technologies. Remy, welcome.
Thank you very much.
You studied mechanical engineering in both France and Canada, and even worked on projects like solar-powered planes and additive manufacturing. So how did those international experiences from Dijon to Edmonton shape your perspective to innovation?
Yeah. So I guess it's first from internship and from previous experience in Europe that I discovered about what was heavy manufacturing, especially everything that has to do that is related with energy production. And so doing my master at the U of A, I had the chance to actually go deeper on the subject and actually create something that could help those heavy industry, especially here in Alberta with oil and gas mining and things like that. And so I guess, yeah, that's where the idea came from. That's all this previous experience and what I did in the past in France and here in Alberta helped me took this direction for Elementiam.
So yeah, so wonderful. So those experiences, they shaped your, perspective on innovation. So you have gone from engineering assistant and mechanic internship to CTO, then CEO of Elementiam. What moved you to step into leadership so quickly?
That's a good question. Well, I guess it's because the way the startup, so Elementiam is a real small startup. And so we created it with my ex-supervisors that were my professors, right, at the time of my master. And because it was from my research, we decided to push Elementiam forward as a startup structure. Then it came kind of logically that I become the CEO and just, take the lead on commercializing and pushing the product outside.
Good. So yeah, so because of the startup you have set up and then you have moved up the ladder.
That's right, yes.
Yeah. So can you share the story behind Elementiam, that what problems are you solving in materials and manufacturing?
For sure, yeah. So what we realized is that in the industry, you have a lot of automation, but for high volume. You take the example of Tesla factory, for example, where automation is everywhere because it's high volume, meaning that you program your robot once and then you let it go over and over again, doing the same task over and over again, right? The issue is that for some sectors, like in the oil and gas and mining, you never do the same thing. Contract manufacturer have to do small batches of very different parts and a lot of maintenance and repair of high value equipment. The problem is that it's really difficult nowadays to find qualified workers to do the job, especially in trade. Trade workers are really difficult to find. And automation is not there because automation has been designed for high volume. So the idea we had is, okay, let's try to bring automation to this high mix, low volume operation, especially for those trade job that is a metal fabrication, so welding, cutting, overlay, and all of those. So what we do is that we integrate what we say the eyes and the brain into existing industrial robots. So the idea is that you take an off-the-shelf robot, industrial robot, 6 degrees of freedom, let's say, a robot that is already used in the industry. But instead of having to program it point to point, so asking for an operator, qualified operator, to program the robot, which is a lot of downtime, here we use the eyes, so the 3D eyes, to automatically take the information of the environment and create a robotic path for the robot to adapt itself to the actual environment and the actual challenge.
Okay, so what makes your technology or approach stand out from traditional repair manufacturing methods?
So when you take the example of maintenance and repair, most of it is done manually, right? Manually with a lot of variability and a lot of pain as well, because you have all the safety that comes in. When you go check the guys at Fort McMurray, they are in like full spacesuit, fully protected against the fume, against the radiation. And still with that, it's a very hard job. And most of the time you end up with a respiratory disease in this type of profession, right? And so the idea here is really to put the worker out of just above the arc, above the fume, but more on the side, on the desk. So it's still here, still required to have the guy operating the cell or being around the cell, but at least he's not above the cell or above the equipment to be repaired.
Okay, so that you are saying that the safety will be improved tremendously.
Exactly, yeah. Safety and also repeatability, like quality at the end, output quality, I would say.
Yeah, so what I understand that your project is scan-assisted repair, right? By
That's right, yeah.
the additive manufacturing, it sounds very fascinating. But then how does it work, and what impact it would have on the industry? Like now you are in oil and gas, so the energy and the aerospace or automotive. What kind of impact it is going to going forward? You told me that there are shortage of trade people. Yes, and then safety is the matter, but what other impacts it will have on those industries?
Yeah, for sure. So for sure, quality, flexibility of the automation, and also increased competitiveness for sure. When it comes to industry in North America, a lot of the industry is outdated. We have been doing the same thing for the last 50 years the same way. And it's about time to introduce automation to try to compete on an international point of view, but also at a local point of view. We speak a lot about reshoring nowadays. And the fact that we have to reshore means that we have to reproduce here again with a knowledge and a know-how that we've lost in the last 50 years because we did the thing overseas, or because we have done the thing in the same way in the last 50 years. So the big challenge with automation is try to integrate it in North America in a way that is user-friendly and with a minimum impact on the finance, right? Like you don't want to put like all your quarter budget into one cell and take the risk of doing that, right? So the idea is really to try to develop a solution that is flexible enough, that can justify a return of investment period that's short enough, while also ensuring the fact that an operator can use it. You don't need to train someone for 3 months in a specific school, have a highly qualified personnel that will leave someday because they find a better place somewhere else. The goal here is really to develop a solution that is flexible with a short ROI and that is really user-friendly so that the operator can use it. Any type of operator can use it.
So it sounds very fascinating. Today is in the reassuring, the reshoring, the environment. So it will help a lot, increase their productivity, and then also the labor mobility. And you don't need, sophisticated training because they're on job and can do the job.
Yes.
So can you share, that what is the response from some of your, the customers or prospective customers, and then what kind of impact it has already put on your customers?
What comes out the most is be able to tackle new challenges, new projects when it comes to MRO, for example, so maintenance and repair operation. We have clients that were able to work with big names in Alberta on repair operation thanks to our technology and the flexibility that we bring. And on the other side, also, and for the welding, for example, when you take spool welding or B-pressure welding, it's really tricky for those companies that are generally far from cities to bring qualified workers. And so the idea of having this system there not only increase productivity because it's a single button solution, right? So the welder can press on the button on the robot cell and continue some other more complex weld somewhere else and double the production. But also, if you can't find welders, you can just bring an operator, right? And the operator just need 2 to 3 days of training on our solution and can directly operate and weld like a 10-year of experience B-pressure welder. So that's the big impact for those companies that are kind of like remote, I would say.
So one thing, that is coming to my mind, that if without operator, taking an operator down there, but cannot sitting at, that, for the even, I have seen in the mining industries, so that the mining industry, that the running the dump trucks, a specific environment, they getting their drivers is very important and it's not possible. So I have seen some companies, so what they do, they use 5G and then that trained women, and so sitting in their the
Oh yeah.
CCR room, and they're operating, and those dump trucks are coming and going. So can this welding can be done remotely?
That's a tricky question. If so, one thing you could do is have an operator that bring the part on the robotic cell, because you still need someone to bring the part with a crane on the cell, right? But if you need a qualified welders with experience to say, okay, so that's a part where we should put this procedure, we should put like this type of current or modify slightly the welding parameters, then this can be done remotely for sure. Everything can be done from the computer, right? So the way we see the thing is not that we'll have an operator operating from hundreds of kilometers away, but it's more having someone in an office that can operate different robots that are on the shop floor. So not too far from him, but far enough so that it is not like every health issues that you can see with welding that are associated with welding.
Mm. Yeah, because the industry I come from a, the cement industry, so we can remote operate, the mills and, the plants, we can remote operate, all those things, so that we can reduce the operator dependency. And especially it was very helpful in the COVID time.
Yeah.
We could do that. So, yeah. And so I think this is the wonderful that technology you are working on. Let's they shift the gear a little bit, as because you are in leadership. So as a young CEO, what leadership lessons have you learned early on?
Well, that's a long one. So yeah, for sure, actually multiple challenge and a steep learning curve for sure that took me a lot of time. Fortunately, in Alberta, you have a lot of help from different entities. Alberta Innovates is helping a lot, NRCI RAP also helping a lot, guiding you through it. I would say the biggest learning I had from early on was to take my time, not precipitate anything, learn about the client in the first place before having to develop the product. Coming from an engineering background, my goal is to solve a problem, right? That's what engineers do. But actually, when you create your company, the first lesson is actually to find a good problem to solve, right? And so that was the really important lesson that I've learned, is that listen to the clients, listen to the prospect, and those people will give you actually what you need, which will not only save you time, but a lot of brain cell and headache in the future after when you develop the solution. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, being a, as what I understand from you, so you are coming from engineering background. So engineer job is to, solve the problem. But when you are in the leadership role, so that you are saying that listening to the client is a skill you need to, you need to develop, and you have developed, so that then you can give them the real solution of their pain. Correct?
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Patience, I guess.
Patience also.
Word.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's been the, hardest challenge, so far in building Elementiam?
The biggest one was definitely the technological one, because it was actually kind of a dual problem, because it's obvious that there is an issue, there is a challenge. How to address it is the different point, right? Because welding, for example, when you take welding, it's 100 years of procedures, 100 years of knowledge, and people have done the thing the same way. And it has to be certified like this, it has to be done like this. And so be able to fit, I would say, the capabilities of the machine with the ingenuity, or kind of at some point welding is an art, right? So try to merge the art part of welding with the automation part was really the tricky bit, because it's a lot of adaptation. How do you adapt to the part? It's a lot, the motion itself for welding is complicated. So it was a lot, like mixing the engineering and the art part of welding was the tricky technological gap, I'd say, that we achieved to solve, but it took us some hours for sure. Yes.
So that was the hardest challenge, the technological, and what about the human side of it? What kind of leadership challenge you learned, the human challenge?
That goes with it, right? If we take like the client side, is like teaching them, or maybe bringing them the technology without saying, no, that's not, a robot is not bad, it's not gonna steal any job soon. Don't worry about that. It's really about see automation as a tool, and a tool that is flexible enough. It's funny because when you speak with operators and welders, they have the two opposites. So they are that are really scared of having robots replacing their jobs, and the other that think that the robot will never do anything good because they are not flexible enough and it doesn't go anywhere, which was true for a long time because they were not flexible enough, right? They were not designed for that. Now we need to merge those two visions to be sure that the robot is flexible enough to be a very useful tool for the operator. But in any case, it will replace, and in any case, it will be staying outside the warehouse and just getting dust on it, because it's not the case anymore with the technology that we propose.
Yeah, so actually that the bigger challenge is that not only adapting the technology, also the fear from the welders, they lose that this robot is going to take up their job. So you come with the approach that yes, it is a productivity tool, it will increase the productivity, but in the long run, yes, it will, so the 5-man job can be done by two experienced operator, right? Ultimately, it comes down to that. But
It is,
then you have
yeah.
to tell that other 3 people can do some other things, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's right. And it's also the fact that right now, so you still need an operator, to put the part on the side. You still need the guy to check if to grind, for example, between welds and things like that, right? The thing is that the contract manufacturer, they struggle to find those workers. So here there is no question, like automation has to be there to actually increase the production. And the other way around, it's also to allow the young welders to create quality parts without having to redo everything or having like a bad reputation because they passed the X-ray, they went to the X-ray, the equipment went to the X-ray, failed the X-ray, and so now there is stress, there is delay, there is downtime. So yeah, it's giving the keys to the young welders and the young trade workers to have a job that is more comfortable. Yeah, so I guess that's the main idea behind it. It's absolutely not replace workers. That's not gonna happen soon for sure. that is for sure.
Yeah, and especially in the welding, the quality is an issue because I have seen that the different types of the welders, so that for a critical job you need to bring the high skill. So, but now what you are saying that even an young the welder can do a high quality job with the
Yes.
aid of the automation.
That's the key of it. Yeah, it's really to try to solve the bottleneck issues that most of the contract manufacturers have right now. That is welding. Yes. When you see, for example, if we take the analogy with CNC machines, for example, CNC machines are used everywhere, right? But welding, there is no automated machine capable of welding, right? And CNC machine didn't destroy all the jobs of all the machinists. On the contrary, right? Just created more opportunities and more flexibilities for the contract manufacturer. And so that's the same that we try to aim with this piece of automation, is to increase the productivity while maintaining, of course, the number of employees at the company.
I see. Yeah, I think that's the right angle to to convince people so that they are not scared of the technology. Uh, if you had access to mentorship, someone a senior person, so what areas of growth would be most valuable to you as a leader and innovator?
If I had mentorship?
Yeah, if you find a mentor, a senior person, say like me, and then if it is given to you, then what areas of growth be most valuable to you as a leader and innovator if you want to take a service of a senior mentor?
There are actually two things that I think really important right now in the company is definitely talent strategies. So internal vs external resources. When you create a company like this, you are always share between having to hire someone part-time or full-time, or hiring external services to help you, for example, for sales and things like that. And it's always a kind of a trade-off of which one should I choose, what type of commissioning, what type of contracting, and things like that. So that's the first thing, especially to see the impact in the long term, because maybe the third party is good for a short term because it brings quickly clients, but it doesn't establish a proper sales strategy in the long term. So for scaling, it might be more tricky. And the second one is more on I would say, like the personal point of view. As you say at the beginning, being a young founder, it's a lot of challenges, it's a lot of pressure. I have the chance to be part of founders at the University of Alberta, where I share my experience with other founders that are the same age as me, And it's really a roller coaster. Everybody agrees on the fact that it's a roller coaster. There are a lot of up and downs. And so having someone that can take like 2 or 3 step back and have the big picture and understand the long term and try to smooth this roller coaster, it's something that is also could be really helpful, I guess, in general for every founder. I guess that's the case.
Yeah. I see. Okay. So let's talk about, the future vision. So why do you see Elementiam in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, so hopefully still here, still around.
Yes. Yeah, most 95% of the startup do not survive 5 years. Right?
Yeah, right. So that's
first thing is the survival, right?
Yeah. So the idea is we will be launching our turnkey solution for spool welding beginning of 2026. So it's a single button solution, robotic cell, multi-axis for everything that has to do with pressure welding, spool assembly, and things like that. So the idea is that we'll pivot progressively from type of a consulting services or like a custom solution to this module that can be sold directly to our customer. And we plan to increase progressively the catalog of those turnkey solutions to address the different challenge in the industry. So it goes with, for example, plasma cutting, structural welding, so deep pressure welding, the one that we are developing and that will be certified in the coming months. And yeah, so yeah, I guess that would be the case. It's really, the goal really is that we want to kind of show, it may be a little bit a show off. It's kind of like automation and robotic is not as complex as many think, and that you take a 3D printer, for example. A lot of people have a desktop 3D printer. It's a simple solution. They press play, the machine prints. Okay. Why is it not the case for robotic? Why is it not the case for welding or plasma cutting? It should be the same, right? Because it's not more complicated than 3D printing a really complex part, right? I know because we also do 3D printing, so that's why I'm saying that. And so the goal is that can we develop a turnkey solution that is as easy to use, as affordable as a CNC machine, so that every contract manufacturer can have it, and finally put automation in welding operation, because when you look at it, it's one of those only action that remains in companies that are still very manual, very much manual. All of them, like when you take, like, for example, machining, even like painting sometimes, sanding, cutting, most of the time when you do, like, you have a lot of plasma cutting, water jet, laser cutting, and fixed light, right? So all of them is automated. The only one that is not automated is welding.
Okay. So you want to see that, that welding is automated in 3 to 5 years, and then Elementiam survives. And but what about the, the revenue, that how many $1 million company Elementiam should be? You should have some, the journey, right? The roadmap.
Yes. Yeah. So we don't really count in terms of money because that's generally something that is kind of vague, right? We aim by the next 5 years to have between 50 and 150 clients. The idea is that we really want to take care of our clients. So one thing that is missing in automation is the support. Most of the companies out there, when they buy automation equipment, they are left alone by the supplier, or they are actually minimal support. It's not that much developed. So the idea is that we really want to integrate support as a key element in the product. And that's why we'll propose our solution. So we propose actually right now a solution as a hybrid model with ownership. So the company buy the robot, so buy the turnkey solution, right? So that they can leverage in the future, even if they don't use our solution after that. But they also have a subscription base. So the subscription base is access to the software. It's also support included. So maybe, of course, the license going to be slightly higher priced, but at least you have the best support, so that we minimize your downtime and you don't have to struggle finding the contact of someone that can help you because your machine is down.
Very good. I have, the one more question to ask you. So what role do you see for Canada and Edmonton in particular in the future of advanced manufacturing?
Of advanced manufacturing, Edmonton is actually a good place to be honest. I'm coming from the U of A, and actually I'm still partnership with the U of A, where we see a lot of innovation in automation and robotics in advanced manufacturing. We have multiple labs, multiple groups that are converging towards the same goal, that is automation and advanced manufacturing. A lot of companies as well in Edmonton. that are really precursors in different type of advanced manufacturing. I'm thinking about, for example, Apollo Clad, who is really advanced in laser coating, for example. Works with companies and research centers in Europe, for example, and things like that, right? So I think we are in a good industrial place to develop this solution, and we're also very open. Like the spearhead of the advanced manufacturing in Edmonton and Alberta more generally is also very much open abroad with people in Europe, but also in Asia. And I think that's what makes the strength of Alberta. And so, yeah, I hope it will continue like that. Yeah.
So, Remy, thank you for sharing your journey from international engineering studies to leading edge manufacturing innovation in Canada. I wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much.